And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in the universe. It's I, John D. and Kanika, a.k.a.
Do.
And Too Much Podcast. How are you doing this morning?
I'm tired.
What are you tired from?
This weekend we had our family reunion, and hosting it is tiring.
It is. So let's do the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good is that we had the biggest turnout we've had in years. We had, I think, about 80, give or take, and we haven't had that big of a reunion in a good amount of time. So that was good. The bad was, it was just so much, like there's so many little details. It's more than just putting food out for people to eat. And the ugly is waking up the next morning. Waking up the next morning. You know, I have a lot of young cousins that when we used to hang out after reunions or whatever, they were too young. And so now they're like, we're old enough now, we want to do, but now the people that used to hang out, they're like, we just want to go to somebody's house and then we'll sit there and just be loud and talk. And that's not what they're thinking about. So I pushed myself to go out last night with my younger cousins. It was fun, but the ugly is me at this age getting up and trying to start my day with pain behind my eyeballs.
I can dig it. And for those of you that don't know, or those of you that haven't experienced family reunions on a regular basis, I was one of those type of people, but I guess I'm not, because I have a family reunion every year with her family. And I was just telling her how I've seen some of her family more times I've seen my own family. And my family, we don't participate in those things because for whatever reasons. And, you know, she was like, well, maybe you're the one that's supposed to do it. Well, maybe I'm not. Because I'll say this, like, the amount of effort that goes in, I understand. But I just don't see myself being the point man. I did try to do the little, and I just didn't feel like the participation of certain people that I felt like it was for. And then, you know, that could get discouraging. But to me, I'm like, I didn't really grow up in a family-oriented environment, so it's not as important to me as it might be for somebody else. So to be able to experience it with yours is really awesome. I mean, and I'm saying that like in the least amount of words possible. Like it's way more than that. It deserves more words. So I'll say this. I looked forward to this one more than any other one because I guess because we were the head in Atlanta before, but now it was like, it just seemed like it was, I don't know. I guess I was more involved than I was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, and now being that I think things went so well, you guys decided to run it back to back here in the area. And I feel like we know so much more than we did before. So I think next year would efficiently, we will do a lot better because we kind of have an idea of what's necessary, what's not, and we can focus on how we can make it more of an experience than it was this year.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Excuse me. It's crazy because I am thinking to myself, the stuff that we have this year, some of the stuff, at least we won't have to buy it again next year. But it was making me think of something. I was looking up, you know that saying, blood is thicker than water. Thinking about your life, do you see that? Do you believe that for yourself?
No. I mean, I thought about that too. I didn't think of blood thicker than water, but I was like, blood represents the time you spend with somebody. It's not about where you came from, because it's almost like you're discrediting somebody who was kidnapped as a child. They can't have a real family.
Well, I was caught up in that because I know a lot of people will say, you know, blood is thicker than water and da-da-da-da. But, you know, I believe that the full saying is blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
Okay, what does that mean?
So
of the covenant, what am I thinking of?
Is an agreement. So
okay, blood of the agreement.
So
is,
like, yeah, is thicker than the water of the womb. So it was
of the womb. WOMB.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like when you talk about, say you're going into war. So the blood that's shed between you and I going into war, because we agreed to do this fight together, is stronger than
the water breaking from the mother.
Yeah. So it's like the family you have by birth,
yes,
doesn't necessarily mean that that's the strongest covenant, because you know how people would be like, well, you don't choose your family, but you choose your friends. So those relationships can be stronger and more meaningful because it's a choice. You know how people be like, that's your brother, you have to do this because that's your brother. You don't want to, but there might be a friend that you'd be more willing to go down in the flames with because you have a stronger connection to them. It's the bloodshed between the covenant between you and I, because we agree to be together. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it used to be weird to me growing up when people would be like, well, blood's thicker than water. And I'd be sitting there like, I mean, I love all of my cousins, but some of them, I wouldn't go down in flames for them because I know, what they're about. Some of them will make silly decisions, and it's like, I'm not going to go down because they're making silly decisions.
Yeah.
But I have certain friends that it's like, I know them inside and out. And that was a chosen love and relationship. And it's just like when we do family, and when I learned that saying, I thought to myself, I used to always say with John, his friends are his family. Like when I met you, I realized that very early on that you would create really, really strong relationships with your friends. And then when we got married, I realized I knew way more about your relationships with your friends than any of your relationships with your family members.
Yeah.
So I used to definitely think that saying didn't apply to you. Yeah. And even with me, I would understand that, I would be like, no, blood is thicker than water, because I love all my family. And I grew up with a lot of my family members. But when I learned the longer version of it, I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
It does.
So, I mean, when we were coming up as a young married couple, we used to put more into our family events like Thanksgiving and Christmas. We spent with our friends in Atlanta and their kids unless they went home. And to me, that was kind of that blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So.
It's so crazy, like thinking about how I view life, like when you don't have a family that you think you're supposed to be a part of because of how you're being raised. It's not like I didn't love my family, but I always thought, what if things were different, and now just looking at my family, like literally looking at my family outside of you, like my sisters and my brother, like all of our relationships they were just relationships. There's like, my closest relationship is probably with my oldest sister, and we talk very rare. The longest history I've had with anybody is my youngest sister, and we talk a little more, but it's still rare. And then when I go to my mother and then my grandmother, like I talk to all of the women in my family outside of you on an average of maybe twice a month. And it's so uncomfortable. Well, maybe it's more because I try to talk to my mother a little more, maybe, but it's no more than 4 times a month, give or take. And sometimes I feel guilty because I feel the way I don't care as much as other people like you do care. I was like, I care because I don't want the feeling. I don't want to feel like I don't care. But I care enough that I don't want anything to happen to them. I care enough that I wouldn't mind being around them more. I care that I wish our relationships were stronger than what they present to me. Mm-hmm. Like, just thinking about how other people feel about people. I don't feel like the way that you feel about your mother, mm-hmm. you have several people you feel like that for. Like, and when I say that, I mean, like, if something happened to him, you would be completely devastated. Mm-hmm. Like, you have several people like that. Like I don't outside, like, just maybe not even my friends anymore. Like, outside of you, Day in Dallas, and I don't even know if I would be devastated. I would be like, it was supposed to happen because it was nothing that we could have prevented or anything like that. But you guys are the closest feeling to me feeling like that, and I feel like I'm supposed to feel like that for like the people that came before you guys. Yeah. You know, so it's like it's weird listening to Blood is Thicker Than Water when the blood I came from, the idea, I remember me and my sister used to get into it all the time. It was like, my father, blood is thicker than water. I was like, well, my friends don't treat me like this.
So he did use that.
Oh, yeah. That was a regular thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, Connie even says it to the day.
Yeah,
blood is thicker than water. We family. And I'm like.
Yeah, she does.
You know, and like, you know, if you didn't say that, I'm like, I've been gave up on that idea. Yeah. Just because of how I like maneuver through life. None of my family, I can't say none of them. Nobody on my father's side, I feel like, outside of me being a child, actually like was really wondering how my life was. I think they automatically thought I was just doing well, which I was. I was doing well enough, but nobody really, like you were talking about, like, nobody asks questions. Yeah. Like, no, they just assume. Mm-hmm. So you can't build relationships with assumptions. Yeah. You know, and a lot of times the assumptions are wrong. But again, like that, I'm just modeling behavior that I've seen. Because I was just thinking about your family. There's so many people I don't know their names. Like yesterday, like, and I'm like, I've seen them way too many times to be asking them names now. So it's like an embarrassing thing.
Oh, I hate that I didn't have name tags because we had one family member, she's never met us. And a cousin that has been gone for like decades. No one's seen her. And so our cousin came and brought her niece. Her niece has never met any of us. And it was, I should have had name tags, but I didn't. And I'm sorry about that because it's true. I mean, there were cousins that I've grown up with them and, well, younger cousins, and they're like, well, who's that? Well, who are they and how are they related? So I was given a lot of family tree information yesterday. Like, their mom is this person and they grew up with this person. And then I think to myself, like we were talking earlier, I don't know everything, but I realize how much I do know. And there are so many family members that have no idea. Like one of my cousins, he was like, I don't know where I came from. And I didn't know what that meant. But he, just so you all know, I have a family. My family came from a really small area in Kentucky, but they were a very prominent family and they were very big. And they married into other families multiple times. So this particular cousin, he's double related to a lot of people. So he has no idea how to organize, like, how are we related? What does this mean? And so I was walking through it with him, and he was like, it's so much easier for me to understand now because I didn't know where I belonged. And it is not like he felt like he didn't have family. It's just like when you don't know, like, why are you my cousin or why are you my this or that, or why do people call you aunt, but you're not my aunt, but we call you this. Like, I have a lot of that in my family. They would call people aunt and uncle, and they ain't our aunt or uncle. And I would tell them, I'll call you cousin because it didn't make any sense to me. But, yeah, it's important for people to know where they come from, where they belong. But even in the simplest thing, like I was really excited to see her this year. And she told me she had a great time. She said, this is my first family reunion ever. And it was great. And I love that. And she's talking about coming back. I probably should have had name tags.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure we can make that happen.
Yeah.
I think that probably should just have more than a name tag. It should be like somebody's their mama so they can like start.
Yeah.
Like, I'm such and such son, just so that the connection can come. Like, okay, I've seen that name tag before. Okay, it's right here.
Yeah, I always think about that. And you know what else? People were like, why ain't we got no shirts?
Your daughter said that.
Well, some people came with shirts.
Your daughter was like, why do they got shirts? And they have different colors.
They just decided to go on Amazon and get 2023 family reunion like generic T-shirts.
But it was 3 different groups of people and they all had the same one. So why is it nobody in?
Because somebody posted it on the Facebook page and they're like, we're thinking about getting these. So, just to let y'all know. And so some of the family members, they were like, well, I'm gonna get some too. But getting them on Amazon, you can choose whatever color you want. So they chose to get, I think, blue, the original group. And then like other ones, my other cousin out of California, he got black and he got black for his kids. So it gave me some ideas about how we can do T-shirts next year that might even help people identify like what's your group, you know what I mean? So I'm excited to put some of those things into play next year. And I used to love to have T-shirts, but it's expensive. Like, it's not expensive to have T-shirts, but we have them pay to come. And when I say I still came out of money, and that was.
But I think ultimately that's just always the host.
Yeah.
It's challenges. So regardless you coming out of money or not, you're supposed to just expect, even if everybody pays, I think you're going to find a way to spend more.
Oh yeah, most certainly.
So that's what I'm saying.
So since we have a whole year to plan now, I'm going to put that into
the budget.
Yeah. I'm going to figure that out. It's far enough out. I should be able to figure it out, but
No doubt. So was there something else you were going to say about I was just wondering, like, being that you grew up the way that you did with your family, did you think that blood was thicker than water before that? Did you understand, or did was your idea similar to what you thought it was before you read the rest of it?
No. When I grew up, I thought blood was thicker than water meant that your family was like, in the end, if you had to make a decision, you better go down in flames with that family member. Like,
that's what I'm saying. So you thought that's what that meant.
So if my cousin was about to fight my friend, I better help my cousin. That's the kind of idea I got from it. Mm-hmm. But thankfully I wasn't in no moment where I ever had to really feel that way. But that's what I thought it meant. And for a lot of things, like, I guess I was okay with it because I love my family, and I'm like, but I don't know. I'm not willing to go down in flames for a lot of things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. In my head, that was the understanding I had. If you had to make a decision between your family and your friends, you better choose your family. Like, I had one family member yesterday. She said she was going to be here. And I never received dues from her. I never received any word from her. She was actually supposed to host it. She said she wanted to host it. She had never been to a reunion. She didn't talk about it very much. So it was kind of like, it sounded fun, but she didn't really want to do it. And so I was like, she didn't even come. That's weird. And her cousin, her first cousin, she was like, yeah, her boyfriend, they had a death in the family, so she had to go to that. Now, in my head, I'm like, you ain't even married to this dude. Why is she here? This is all your family. Blood is thicker than water. But I mean,
So you got mad because she went to her boyfriend's funeral, father's parents' funeral?
Whoever it was. I didn't get mad, but in my head I was like,
it sounded like you got mad.
well,
in your head.
I'm saying a year ago, she was supposed to have planned to be here a year ago.
No,
like,
I get it, but I mean,
died, they just died.
So like that means I can't make it last minute.
No, but she never planned to come. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, she was gonna come, but no, she wasn't. Just like none of her sisters were gonna come. But in my head, my response to my cousin, even though I wasn't angry, my response was like, blood is thicker than water. Like, this is your family. Why ain't you here? But in my head, I also understand that saying ain't really what it is. Like I said, I already knew the real meaning behind it, but it was just that natural old reaction, old habits type of reaction where. So
you don't feel that way anymore? You understand? Because it sounds like you're still trying.
No, I understand because I know that she's not close to this family.
No. I'm past that. I'm saying when you said blood is thicker than water, right? You said it was like bad habits that you. It was just that. Yeah, it was a natural. So do reaction. You understand or no? It's still blood thicker than water because.
No, I understand why she went.
No. When you say it, it's your tone sounds like it's being judgmental. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's absolutely. But this is why it's. This is why.
Then it's contradictory to me.
It's judgmental because this particular person was like, "Yeah, I want to be the one because I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that." And then when I was like trying to hand things over to her, okay, so this is what you have to do. She was like, yeah, I really want to do that, but she wasn't really engaged at all. And eventually I just stopped asking her anything about it because I understood that she wasn't going to do anything. And I also understand that this isn't, if you have to choose, it's like the saying, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Like her loyalties or the people that she's more invested in are those relationships she chose, not the ones she was born into. So I understand that the things this wasn't a priority to her because she's not really connected to the family like that, where this would be a priority. So this is before the death. Like
no, I get it. But so I just want to just have an understanding. Then why does it bother you if you say that she wasn't connected? It seemed like you would already understand. Like it seemed like she bothered you, but you have all of this information and it still bothered you. So I don't understand that.
No, what I'm saying is that my response is like based on how we used to look at things. It was just like a natural, smart remark.
I know, but when I said it sounded judgmental, and you said absolutely. So how are you judgmental?
Because I agreed with you. It does. It sounds judgmental, and it was. It was judgmental.
That's the point.
But when I'm owning that, and I'm saying it was just a natural like asshole reaction. You know, it's like reaction. Oh, you don't even know them like that. But I understand. Absolutely, there are things that have gone on with my family, and I'm like, that's not. My dad's side of the family, it's a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm like, I'm not interested in that. I don't care. I would choose to do something with a friend or with my other side of the family before I would even be like concerned.
So hypothetically, if you had planned to go to your father's side and something happened, you would understand why people would feel that way toward you, or you wouldn't like it. Because I'm trying to give you a correlation. If she's not close to the side of this family, you're not close to that side. Would you understand people feeling that way about you?
Yeah, I would. But it's weird. I guess they would look at it the way I'm looking at her. Like they understand that I'm not really invested in their family. So it'd be like, Nika wasn't really gonna come anyway, or Nika wasn't gonna be involved.
Or were they judgmental? like she wasn't coming anyway.
Yeah. And they could be like that too because of how I interact with them. So I would understand somebody reacting the same way. I will also understand because of how I relate. Even though I have a really positive relationship with this particular cousin, there's no real draw or connection to our family like that for them. And I find that for a lot of people who are younger than me and my brothers, like the people who are around 40 years old and older, we grew up and this was our thing. But our kids, they don't. So we've been so we've been so disconnected for so long. They have no idea of how we grew up and why this is so important to us. To them, it's like, it's just people. Like, I don't get it. Why are we? So I get it. I understand.
I think majority of the kids, like, they're more spread out than you guys too. Y'all generation lived in the same city.
You're right.
And with looking at people who had kids, even if they did have kids, people were in different places while they were growing up before they could establish relationships or whatnot, and you only see each other once a year. So it could be really tough trying to like compare the generation before, because we moved so much more than the previous generation.
And you're right. And we're a lot more spread apart. So
like you guys kind of got forced to be cousins.
Oh yeah, because our mothers were like in the choir together at
That's
church.
what I'm
like
saying.
We
So
see them every week at church.
It's a lot easier to deal with somebody you got to deal with.
Yeah, we grew up with them, stayed the night with them all the time. Like, and our kids, we're reintroducing them to their family every year over and over again. Like, oh, I don't know. But you know, one thing that was interesting is one of my cousins who I used to babysit and take care of, she had this overwhelming feeling that she needed to become for Day what she felt I was for her. And she really like talked to her and tried to, you know, like they even told me, she and another cousin, they both love art. They said, we feel like, you know, we should see Day more. Maybe you can bring her over this coming week and we could do some art together or do whatever. And I thought that was really great. But, and I'm going to encourage it. And I was like, y'all just let me know where you want her to be. And most certainly. But that was a connection that I was really happy about. And it wasn't anything that I orchestrated, so that was even great. Better. You know, it was something that they wanted.
Yeah.
So, and you know, when older cousins want to take younger cousins in, I think it's always really, really valuable when it's something that I'm not trying to orchestrate, because that means they really want it and it's more likely to be meaningful. So, and Day is super open to it. She was like, yeah, you know, people who like what I like, so yeah, let's do it. So that was really cool.
For sure.
And even my nephew, he was like watching Dallas and he's like, he's just like me. He's like, I ain't want to deal with none of this. I was like, I know. Dallas was really like trying to, he warmed up at the end. But in the beginning, like the first night, y'all, my boy had his hoodie on over his head with his mask on in the corner. And I was like, oh my God. It just looked like he wanted to disappear into the wall. But he became more engaged yesterday, which was good. And it just let me know that I probably should like push them into seeing more people more often, so that it doesn't feel like a brand new connection every year.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
The family. Love you guys. I can't wait to see them again next year. And hopefully we have even more people.
Definitely.
We'll get the pavilion by the restroom this time.
That would be all. I guess we should.
Hey, they was mad about that.
No, they were.
They said we're far from both bathrooms.
But that's where we always are, right there. I don't know why we always get that one.
Because it's by the water, by the playground. It's
Nobody
easier.
uses that.
Somebody went in the water yesterday.
No, I'm not saying that you don't, but I'm saying like I think a restroom is going to be used before all the other
I agree.
amenities.
I thought that being by the playground, the ones with little kids, it would be fun, but it's cool.
No doubt. Well, I want to give a shout out to all these animals that's distracting our dogs, just keeping them barking in the background.
Yeah.
Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Boom.